Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the sixth appointment online of the online training organized in the framework of the joint action on increasing capacity building of national focal points. I will kindly ask to switch off the microphone, please. Thank you very much. My name is Sandita Florea on behalf of ProMIS, affiliated entity of the Italian Ministry of Health, the coordinator of this joint action. I am very happy to welcome all the participants. Today it will be a very, very interesting webinar. We know that many of you have registered, so I will start now by presenting shortly the agenda, and also in the context of the organization of the training. As known, it is already 1 year that ProMIS, in quality of Work Package 6 leader, has kicked off the training online. This is already the sixth appointment, as I was saying. In the meantime, also we are organizing the on-site training. Our aim, of course, is to increase the capacity of the national focal point in supporting the implementation of the EU4Health program. So it is an ongoing process, and we are more than glad to continue working together. Specifically, of course, in the framework of the Work Package 5, with regard to the synergies with other health-related programs, we are also working towards boosting synergies and exploring opportunities from other programs. Indeed, today we will therefore deepen the Horizon Europe program, specifically also with regard to the cluster health. I am very glad to introduce Caterina Bonocore from APRE. If you don't know, APRE is the Agency for the Promotion of European Research in Italy, hosting also the National Contact Point Service for the Horizon Europe program in Italy. Specifically, Caterina Bonocore is responsible for the strategic partnership. It's also the national contact point for Horizon Europe and the coordinator of the HNN 3.0 network that we are collaborating with. Before starting, I will just kindly ask if colleagues from the Italian Ministry of Health would like to introduce the webinar as well, if there is someone connected. In the meantime, just very practical few information. Together with my colleague from ProMIS, we will collect questions or any other requests, and we kindly ask colleagues to write in the chat. There will be also a Q&A session, let's say around 12, more or less, and at the end as well. Please be informed that all the materials will be available on the Joint Action website. We will make sure to write it in the chat, and we invite, of course, you to just follow our project through the social media channels, and also follow all the updates on the website. I think we can start. Then I will give the floor to Caterina Bonocore. Welcome, and thank you very much for accepting our invitation. Yes, we can see your screen. Thank you, Caterina.
Thank you. Thank you, Sandy. Good morning, everybody. Sorry, I just need to check if you see the screen in the full mode.
Yes, it's perfect. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Okay, thanks for this invitation. And yeah, thank you for having this exchange in between programs. I can also mention that as coordinator of the Health NCP Net project, we for sure also plan such an activity on the let's say, as an exchange, where some of you, National Focal Point, will train us and inform us on your program. So thank you for anyway starting this exchange activity and joint, um, uh, let's say, skills building. As Sandy was saying, I will introduce, for, of course, those of you who are not really into also the Horizon Europe program, the main principle of the program, and go, of course, deeper into the health cluster, which we represent today. And in the presentation, I will also mention some general principles of the Horizon Europe program, like any eligibility criteria or what type of actions the program is using to fund research and innovation. I will also mention very briefly the evaluation criteria of the program, which I think are always a very important item to understand also a funding program in general. First slide really with the agenda that we are showing, that we are going through today with you. We will indeed have also a session where I will leave the floor to you. I have to say that now in the mode I am seeing the platform, I cannot really see the who is actually raising the hand. So for this, I will ask also the collaboration of Sandy or any of you to tell me if something is wrong or if you have questions during the presentation.
Yes, Caterina,
So
we will take care
yeah.
of the
By the
chat.
way, do you see the black box I see also on my slide, or it's only me? Just to check if your
No,
vision
it's
is.
yeah, it's the WebEx setting when you are sharing the screen.
Yeah,
So we are
but do
just
you
seeing
see it?
the slide. No, 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 no.
Okay,
But we
no,
know
fine.
how
Okay,
WebEx works. Okay, perfect,
okay,
Caterina. Thank you.
thanks. Okay, so a brief mention, just very much as an introduction of what we all do. National Contact Point are guided by a minimum guidelines for our activity, and I wanted to point out that this is also what we consider our three, let's say, missions: to inform and create awareness among applicants. Assisting and advising and training is also part of most of the NCP structure of Horizon Europe. So really meaning reviewing proposal, reading, giving feedbacks, advising in general, and also providing trainings to applicant. And then the last, the third box is also signposting and cooperation, and it's really what we should try to do together with the NFPs of EU4Health, really trying to know better each other programs so that it's easier to signpost and to create a bridge in between the programs. Um, what I also would like to point out is that the Horizon Europe has different and several NCP networks. Um, the one you see named as HNN is, of course, the one related to cluster health, but there are several others, as you see from all these logos and acronyms. And basically, there is one NCP network and one NCP project for the different programs and clusters of Horizon Europe. This is just to show you that anyway, also when it comes to opportunities and explaining opportunities also in the health field for our applicants, we generally, and I will show also this to you in the program, we also need to consider the collaboration or with other NCPs, not only the health NCPs. One example up to the right, you see the REACH of program, the REACH project, and that's the NCP project for infrastructure NCPs. Also in that program of Horizon Europe, there are opportunities for health researchers. So, for example, we are also having a collaboration with this program and with this NCP project, because we might need to show to our applicants what are the health infrastructure of European interest who have a relevance for health field, and there are many. But that's just an example. So of the variety of opportunities and of services that Horizon Europe can give to researchers and innovators. What these networks are producing and what are we all working on as NCPs. Each network, of course, has its specificities, and each of the program of Horizon Europe might need some specific services for applicants. But in this slide, I just wanted to mention what are the main products that have been listed. They are not all, and they are all not related to health, but in general to the NCP activities. The first one you see is the annotated template. So once we have a template in which the proposers are writing a proposal, there are always questions on what are the aspects that we should highlight in this or that section. So basically, several NCP network have decided to work on what we call an annotated template, where basically the NCP is inserting comments in the official template to guide the researchers in during the writing of the proposal. At the moment, we have to say that there is only one annotated, which was generated by the project Bridge to Horizon Europe, which is a general annotated template. So it has no specificities, for example, on the health sector, but in the framework of HNN 3.0, we actually want to prepare an annotated template which is health specific. So, for example, this is just one of the points where we will work on. You see that there are also brokerage events, trainings like this one of today. Some of the project networks have built also a list of good practices or success factors in the proposal preparation. Then you see a topic tree, which is also a very peculiar tool that the ICT NCPs have developed. This is, let's say, it's quite of an interesting tool, which has also some ICT facilities to needed, where we show for each of the call of cluster 4 what is the origin, which are the policies related to this area of research. So basically the NCP and the applicant can understand a bit the backstage of the call. This is, I have to say, something that only ICT NCPs have developed for their own calls and work program. Then we organize also full proposal check events and pre-proposal checks. Generally, this requires a specific intervention of even evaluators of proposals. So the event is basically selecting a few proposals all over Europe, and we give the service to a few of these proposals to be really pre-checked, not only by NCPs, but also by a pool of evaluators. Then we have also some glossaries. For example, here we mention a business glossary when we work more on innovation related project. And as a last point, I want to mention also clinical study template, because our cluster health in general, Horizon Europe is funding clinical studies, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and there is a specific template that our applicants have to fill in if they propose a clinical study of different type. And now we are actually working in our project to commenting this template that the European Commission has made available, because it's of course creating several doubts about applicants. So many of these already developed tools, you can find them published on the Horizon Europe NCP portal.eu. This is a portal which was funded by a European Commission project, Bridge Horizon Europe, and it will be continued also during these next years of program. That's where you can find really several of these downloadable version of all the different tools which have been developed and which are public. So now, as I finish this intro on yes, the NCP, let's say, world for Horizon Europe, then I wanted also to start with the program. So Horizon Europe, 7 years in parallel, basically with the European, with EU4Health program. We have 3 pillars. That's how we present the program to our applicants, and each pillar has different sub-programs, and these sub-programs are also proposing opportunities for a different stage of research and innovation. What does this mean? We say pillar 1 is the pillar which is really devoted to fund basic science and to fund the excellence of European science. Through these 3 sub-programs, ERC, European Research Council, the second one, Marie Slodowska, Curie Actions, and the third one, Research Infrastructure. So with this pillar, the European program Horizon Europe wants to give opportunities to whom? To basic research scientists with ERC. Here it's where you do the type of research you want, no limits, no topics, no restrictions by, let's say, European Commission. So you have an idea of any field. Can it be biomedical? Can it be physics, chemistry, neurosciences, whatever you want to do, you can go to European Research Council. So we call this program basically a bottom-up program because it's really free, and the science funded there is totally of a free proposal from researchers. There are different schemes also in the European Research Council. So we generally tell our applicants, if you are in your starting phase of a research career, you do, now I go a bit into details, but you can go to the starting grant opportunity. If you are in a later stage of your career of research, you go to, for example, the advanced grant. And these 2 types of research and project, let's say, have a different impact on the research career of the individual. But what is also important to remember, if you want indeed to also guide a bit your applicant, is that you basically you must have certain criteria, a certain number of years of experience, a certain numbers of publications on the field you want to propose the project on. What is also interesting in this program ERC is that you can participate as an individual, and basically this is something which is very unique because generally in Horizon Europe the the project should always be made by a consortium, a group of researchers from different countries. So in pillar one, we have this exception, bottom up and individual proposal. Same with Marie Slodowska. Also here, the main distinction with the pillar two I will present later is that you do also here free research on any topic you want, no restrictions, no calls, but and you can participate mainly as an individual. So you have an individual project and you can get your funding to do your research. But in Marie Slodowska, you need to move. That's the program dedicated to mobility of research. So if you have some applicants who are keen to do their research project abroad in another institution, that's the program we always advise. In the Marie Slodowska Reaction Program, there are also more than one scheme, but okay, today it's not really for going so much in depth. It's important to know that it's indeed open and it's also for individual researcher. The third program of pillar one is the research infrastructure program. Very successful, very interesting program. That's where European Commission is not funding new infrastructure, but it's actually giving the chance to infrastructure of great European interest to be more open to the access of researchers from all over Europe. Wherever the infrastructure is based, the idea is to give more opportunities to all researchers to take advantage of this infrastructure. So use the infrastructure internationally. And here we have a work program, and generally there is also topics which are funding certain type of activity related to a research infrastructure. And here there are also spaces for health infrastructure. In each work program, there is always a mention to this field. So very important program also for the health researchers. Pillar two, that's where we place the health cluster, which is one cluster number one, probably also to show the importance of health in the among the other research fields, which, as you see, are six. They're all named by number: cluster 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 until 6. That's where in pillar 2 we fund. European Commission is funding collaborative research. So that's the main word you need to remember, because here you have to participate with a quite wide consortium of different made up of different members and organization. In pillar 2, or what we say to define it as here, it's a top-down part of the program. So there is always a work program with specific topics. There is always an indication of what we want to achieve in that call. So here, let's say we are less free than in pillar 1, but still I can say that there is anyway there is an openness, because for example, first characteristic in this pillar and in the health cluster, you will never find too many specificities of diseases in the calls, because generally the program is leaving the choice to the research group to target one disease or another disease, but it's really the choice of the group. And yeah, just to conclude a bit the overview on the Horizon Europe program, Pillar 3 is also an interesting pillar, is really made to fund the type of research who's getting closer to the market. So we stay here up to the pre-competitive phase, but the funding is really given to produce solutions which are anyway closer to the market. Also, there are 3 sub-programs. There is also a specificity here. There is a stronger participation of the private sector. By private sector, we mean small, medium enterprises, large enterprises in general. Of course, also research institutions, universities, hospitals are welcome in the third pillar participation. But yeah, we have to say that typically it's highly the high participation there is also belonging to the private sector. And what's the budget of Horizon Europe? 95.5 billion. The budget of Pillar 2, so for collaborative research, is 53 billion. And as you see, the health cluster has a funding which is basically the same of the EU4Health program. So we have a joint and averagely common portfolio available for funding. You see that there is also a cake there, which is showing basically how the fund for cluster health is distributed, that will be distributed. 40% will be distributed through project, more or less what are also your action grants, I think. Then 50%, actually, that's very important to notice, will be distributed through partnerships. Partnerships are a very important form of funding of Horizon Europe. I will mention what are the partnerships for related to health, and I will try to explain a bit what's their funding mechanism. 10% of the funding will be distributed to missions. So for health, we will have one mission available, which is the mission related to cancer. And I will also mention some content and some specificities. So this slide is what we also use in our presentation, showing where health research is. So mainly in cluster 1, but there are different opportunities. The different arrows are showing that if you are doing health research, you can go to pillar 1 in the 3 programs, as I explained. You can also go out of cluster health and search in other clusters. That's what we also do in terms of collaboration with other colleagues. Cluster 2, cluster 3, 4, they all have some elements. They might have in every work program some content which is related to health. Same thing also on a European innovation program. That's where indeed also some health research is funded every year. And I mentioned in the title, health in other clusters of Pillar 2, bottom-up versus top-down research. So if you want to also advise your clients, Pillar 1 is bottom-up research, Pillar 2 mainly top-down approach. So when you want to show also our client what are the complementarities with other pillars and cluster, we show the situation in this other way with colors showing the different pillar. Pillar 3 is green, The clusters are orange and the pillar one are the purple part. So that's where a health researcher should look at. Actually, what we could do is also showing in this slide the connections with the EU for Health. And that's where we actually should aim at. It would be interesting to soon have available a presentation where beside this connection we can show also the connection to EU for Health program. That's really one task I would like to achieve, also thanks to your support for the future. When we want to show the cross clusters indeed interaction, so we use this slide, and as you see in the examples, it can be that in cluster 2, which is dedicated to also inclusive society, innovative inclusive society, that's the name of the cluster, there are some topics who are generally touching a bit the health socio-economic dimension of an aging society, or maybe a society who's changing the working habits. So there are interesting interaction also with cluster 2. In the past, we had also some interactions with the cluster 3, where cybersecurity of health data were tackled, or protection of critical infrastructure, being also hospitals a critical infrastructure, how to best react to pandemics. So cluster 3 is also a cluster where our attention should go in looking for opportunities. Cluster 4 is the one also containing a very strong digital component. So robotics, smart materials, training of healthcare professionals, photonics have been mentioned in the first work programs. And cluster 6 is the cluster where there is also a dimension related to nutrition. So always good to check cluster 6 work program as well. So now that we have advised our client and you as colleagues on the other program on where to look in searching health opportunities, we go to types of actions. We have this mainly these three type of action: research and innovation action, RIA, innovation action, CSA, coordination and support actions. Each of these type of funding have a different presence in the work program, depending on what field, but the majority of the actions are generally RIA, the first type. In health research, I want to tell you that we have very little presence of innovation action. And on the other side, we have many coordination and support action types in our work programs. What type of research? As you see, RIA are starting from including also some basic and applied research. They can go further on technology development, integration of different technologies, testing activities, demonstration and validation, prototyping, laboratory or simulated environment. So the RIA is a type of action which is allowing a very broad type of project. Generally, indeed, the duration of one RIA project can be up to 4 years. Generally, 3-4 years duration is the average. Innovation action, they are those type of projects which are funding indeed a type of research which is already advanced, starting from prototyping, testing, demonstrating, piloting, large-scale product validation, and market replication. So this type of project is really advancing and getting a bit closer to the market. A CSA is allowing different things, but mainly networking, the coordination of different actors working on a specific field, especially lately ministries, regions, depending of course on the project call, but here yeah, it's mainly doing studies together, mapping a sector, or developing a policy dialogue, or exchanging good practices and so on. So CSA is also very common type of action in Horizon Europe. You see in the second column the type of funding. That's also a difference compared to EU4Health actions. We have 100% of funding plus 25% of flat rate, which is covering what we call indirect costs of each action. So you see at the 25 is added to all the other actions. You see in the bottom of the slide that there is an asterisk on funding because as you see on the innovation action, there is a lower percentage of co-funding, and that's because you are getting closer to the market, you're getting closer to making a profit on the solutions you are developing, on the new research you are entering in the market. So the funding is decreasing. And but for public organization or not for profit organization, also on innovation action, you would have 100% of funding. So the 70% is applying to private type of entities. There are also some other funding rates and funding scheme in Horizon Europe. Also, the first three you have seen, but there is also one important action I wanted to mention, and it's the fourth one, program co-fund actions, where the funding is actually in between 30 and 70%. This type of activity is mainly, I can make an example, and those are the partnerships indeed. They can be public or private public. And here, up to now, the co-fund actions we have seen, they all had a co-fund of about 30%. This type of action is including also indeed ministries or anyway organization who are funding research in the member state or associated countries. So the funding rate is really determined by the fact that the type of activity European Commission is funding is really the coordination effort, the trying to build a common basis for funding research in the member state in a joint European transnational way. So that's why here the 30% is, of course, much lower than the rate for funding a research and innovation project. There are also some other type of actions in Horizon Europe. You see also the training and mobility action. That's typical of the Marie Sklodowska-Curie actions. We have also pre-commercial procurement actions, public procurement of innovation solution. They are really minor schemes, but they are present in our work programs in different So now that we know what are the funding schemes in Horizon Europe, more or less, and the funding rate, we go a bit through the cluster health, which is really the, I would say, the brother or sister program of EU4Health. That's where we basically have to see the synergies, and that's where we have to explain our clients where to go and to do what. So the specific objectives that are mentioned in the cluster health are listed there on the left of the slides, and that's a bit what the mission is of these clusters. So the keywords we always mention are improving and protecting the health of citizens at all ages, developing innovative solutions to do what? What we see in the work program is basically to work on prevention, as also EU4Health is doing, diagnose, monitor, treat, and cure diseases. So basically, the work program is always covering different research areas, mitigating health risks, protecting population, and promoting good health, making public health systems more cost-effective, equitable, and sustainable. And here I also see a very strong synergy with the EU4Health program, because we also tackle public health systems. And then one last mention to supporting and enabling patients' participation and self-management. This is also a very strong characteristic and dimension, the self-management of health, empowerment of patients. It's one of the item which is very much stressed in the calls, always in all the cluster health work program. The areas of interventions are the 6 you see on the right of the slide. These are very broad areas, but these areas of intervention are generating in every work program different topics. So that's why we always mention the areas of intervention, because they are a bit the guideline for then the 6 destinations in our work program that I will show you in a minute. So health throughout the lives of citizens is really starting from childhood, adolescence, or actually even before, during the pregnancy. That's the type of let's say, actions timeline that this work program is proposing. Non-communicable diseases, tools, technologies, and digital solutions for health and care. Then we have also some areas on environmental and social health determinants. Infectious diseases are part of the work program, including poverty-related and neglected diseases, and the healthcare systems are an area of intervention. These are also the policy priorities for cluster health. That's also something we like to show to our applicants, because in every project they should try to focus on also the political situation and the impact that their project will have on the different European policies. So this is just the list we use to present. Yeah, where in green we show just a few highlights on the different research areas. And I'm sure that with the EU4Health, we share, of course, all these policies, background and packages. Going a bit deeper than in the health work program, and especially now I'm mentioning the work program 2023-2024. One of the differences with the EU4Health is that we have always work programs who are 2 years, for 2 years duration. So basically now we are now tackling 2024 topics, because the deadline of 2023 was the 12th of April, so just a few days ago. And in this work program, we have these 6 destinations. The 6 destinations have not changed compared to the first work program, which was 2021-2022. So there was continuity in these first 4 years on at least the main areas the program is answering to. when we talk about destinations, okay, here in the slide down to the right, okay, sorry, there was just a mistake. I forgot that it was in Italian, but this, there is, we call it a logical framework in Horizon Europe, where the European Commission has created a correspondence between the strategic plan of Horizon Europe and the impact which this strategic plan is expecting. So basically, the destinations, the 6 destinations you see in the slides, are there to create an impact, and the impact is mentioned in the strategic plan that European Commission has published in 2021. So, for example, now, as I mentioned, the strategic plan, European Commission is now rewriting, or anyway, updating the strategic plan for the next phase. The first strategic plan was going from 2021 to 2024. So now we are ready to move after this work program to the next phase. And these 6 destinations, which now you see showed in the six different colors, will all generate topics, polls. And I will show you in the next slide for each of these destinations what were the research areas which have been opened, and actually part of it are still open. When the colleagues from the Ministry of Health of Italy and ProMIS asked us to do this webinar, I was mentioning, okay, we can do it in the middle of April, soon after the closure of the first call for 2023. In this moment, what I'm going to show you is basically partially a work program which is expired because the deadline was a few days ago. But for 2024, actually, we are in a phase where the calls are not out yet. They are not published as opened, but they are there. So basically, every researcher can read the work program. The topics are there, but the official opening will be I guess beginning of June, when we will all have also info days and brokerage event. So for now, I'm just continuing our, let's say, exchange of modalities of work. That's our work program. This is the index of the work program for 2003 and 2024, sorry. You see that our work program is indeed divided into destinations. So that's how we read better the index. And you see that for each destination, there are the titles I was showing you in different colors: staying healthy in a rapidly changing societies. The second one, living and working in a health promoting environment. Destination 3, tackling diseases and reducing disease burden. Then you also see that each topic is has different acronym in it. Staying healthy, indeed, you see that it's recognizable with this staying health nomenclature. You see that there are some partnerships topics. You see it mentioned also in the title. What else I can underline to you in what you see? Well, basically that when you see the work program, you see mentioned as 2024 for 2024 and 2023 for topics in 2023. So at the same time, we have the 2 years and the 2 possibilities. You also see it's mentioned single stage, in some cases 2 stage, and that's also making a difference because when it's single stage, you present the proposal, the entire proposal at the date of the deadline. For the 2 stage, you have the opportunity to do a 10-page proposal, so a shorter proposal, And if you are well evaluated, you go through the second deadline, which is indeed a second stage. So also for this work program, we have this opportunity of single and two-stage procedure in Horizon Europe. And here I'm trying to also create the parallel with your Health 2023 work program. This is a slide, of course, I borrowed from you, from Hadea. And yeah, just trying to, you also have these 6 areas which are a bit, I think, the equivalent of these destinations I was showing. And yeah, probably different approach. Yeah, what I appreciate here is also to see the allocation of budget by destination. I will show also this in a minute for our work program. So yeah, for you, you see that crisis preparedness has a higher budget compared to the other action lines. I don't know how actually you call these 6 areas. Maybe you can just tell me when we break for questions. But yeah, I see many complementarities in these 2 ways of building work programs. You also have, of course, health systems and healthcare workforce as a priority, cancer as we do, health promotion, disease prevention, crisis preparedness is exactly what we also have in the work program, and digital, of course. What we should try to be clear on to our applicant is in what way and for what type of actions this program are funding projects. So going through also now the cluster health destination 1, this will be just a quick overview, but this is really the way we present the program to our applicants. So on the right, on the left of the slide, we try to mention a few areas which are typical of this destination: obesity, aging, mental health, empowerment, digital health literacy, prevention. Actually, personalized prevention is what we do. Chronic diseases with through artificial intelligence application. So the budget for this destination is 120 million euro, of which 40 million for 2023. So this means that, of course, the other part is for 2024. This was a topic for 2023. Person-centered health and care in European regions, very attractive. There were actually several projects, about 20, I think, submitted for just one topic. The deadline was indeed 13 of April in single stage. So going to what indeed now is the upcoming calls for 2024, there are 2 stages possibilities towards a holistic support to children and adolescent health and care provision in an increasingly digital society. This is a research and innovation action type of project. Then the other topic is on personalized prevention of non-communicable diseases, addressing areas of unmet needs using multiple data sources. So, okay, I'm showing here only the titles. Of course, the important part is to read the topics with the mentioned expected impact, the scope, etc. But generally, we ask our applicants to reflect on every word in the topic. For example, already from the title here, you see that the attention is on holistic support to children and adolescent health and care provisions, and that the problem here is identified in a digital society. So probably, yeah, it's already saying in the title what specificity they expect in the project. Same on the second topic, where Yeah, it's on non-communicable diseases, and this is actually a prevention topic, but on what to focus, here it's saying unmet needs using multiple data sources. So the applicant should be ready to focus on what are the areas of unmet needs and using indeed multiple data sources. That's important to underline. For 2024, we are having a deadline in 19th of September. For, as this is a two-stage, the first deadline is September. If they go through, they will have to apply the whole proposal on 11th of April. So destination 2, this is where we fund research on trying to understand what is the impact of environment, pollution, indoor and outdoor, pollution for chemical substances, electromagnetic fields, urbanization, climate change, etc. And we want to reinforce here the capacity of healthcare systems to be resilient and to adapt to these changing conditions. So if you do research on the impact of health on environment on health, that's where you should address your client. You see what were a bit the topics on 2023, mental and physical health in changing working environment. This was an important area indeed in a post-pandemic workplace situation. So I don't mention the other topics. Let's go to 2024. This is what is going to open soon. The role of environmental pollution in non-communicable diseases, air, noise, and light, and hazardous waste pollution. So very specific, only one topic for 2024. And let's go to one of the most, I would say, rich destinations, because that's where the tackling of diseases and reduced disease burden, that's where cancer research is, non-communicable diseases, rare diseases, antimicrobial resistance, vaccination, preparation to pandemics. It's all in destination 3, so very broad. And you see the budget is really important. 551 million euro, half of it basically for 2023. That's where we mention always the deep connection with Europe's Beating Cancer Plan and with the EU4Health program. Absolutely, this is really a very important synergy part. Those were the topics you see. There were many on 2023. Yeah, you see different fields, vaccine-induced immunity, infectious relations between infections and non-communicable diseases. That's where you see at the bottom one of the partnerships. You see a European partnerships on rare diseases. As this is a joint topic for EU4Health in Horizon Europe, it's important to know this partnership has been submitted. Actually, no, sorry, this has a different deadline. This will be submitted in September, and this will require the participation of public ministries, regional authorities for different from different member states. This is a partnership where member state and associated countries, but also in some cases partners from outside Europe, will try to coordinate the effort they do on rare disease research. Now we go to topics which are going to be published. So comparative effectiveness is generally a way to fund research in Horizon Europe, healthcare intervention in areas of high public health need. I see that also here there might be a lot of synergies in between the programs, and this is a topic which can be really interesting also for your constituencies in general. pandemic preparedness, adaptive platform trials for pandemic preparedness, validation of fluid-derived biomarkers for the prediction and prevention of brain disorders, tackling high burden for patients under researched medical conditions. Then pandemic preparedness and response, maintaining the European Partnership for Pandemic Preparedness. This is a CSA, one of those funding instruments which are not funding research, but coordination and support. And that's a typical action where indeed the European Commission is trying to build to support the creation of this new partnership on pandemic preparedness. Then there is also a research project, host-pathogen interaction of infectious disease with epidemic potential, and another partnership on One Health antimicrobial resistance. So you see that there is a strong structuring effort of doing research internationally on certain very strategic macro areas in Europe. Deadline for, as these are single stage poll, 11th of April of next year. Destination 4, that's also very important for us to discuss it. It's where indeed we talk about innovative, sustainable and high quality of care. So definitely in synergy with EU4Health. We talk about resilience of healthcare systems, health policies based on evidence. So all the research funded here is to give evidence-based power to different type of healthcare interventions. The topics in 2023 were this. You see also a topic which I think is very interesting for you, resilience and mental well-being of health and care workforce, environmental, sustainable and climate neutral health and care systems. And here there was another partnership on personalized medicine. So going to 2024, where you see in general, in many cases, there are only a few topics for the second year. Here we have a research and innovation action named access to health and care services for people in vulnerable situations. So the peculiarity here is understanding, okay, what vulnerable situations, in which countries, on which eventually type of disease. We indicate the budget on the left side, 190 million, 30 million for 2024. So basically this is the budget for this 24 topic. Destination 5, here the keywords we present are always, the research funded here are for new tools, technologies, maybe not new technologies, but integration of technologies, digital solution for a healthy society. So here it's where we build tools, digital tools. That's where we really make an emphasis on using health data. Health data which should be used in a secure and ethical way. So that's why here the mentioned program is also European Health Data Space, because that's the part of the work program where data are really necessary, and the projects are also in a way more technological in Destination 5. The topics were these for 2023. And for 2024, as you see, the topics are these two on regenerative medicine and innovative non-animal-based tools and strategies for biomedical research. Also here we have the indication of the budget for 2024, 50 million for these two topics. I didn't mention up to now the size of the projects that generally the program is funding, but that's indicated in every single project topic. Generally, there is written what the budget should be for that specific topic. Maybe in between 3 and 4 millions or 6 and 10 millions, it depends. Last destination, destination 6, is really the destination which is taking care of maintaining an innovative, sustainable, and globally competitive health industry. So here the focus is really the health European industry. The topics in 2023 were also interesting, and they were on health technology assessment, methodology, and advancing actually HTA expertise across Europe. That's indeed the CSA, so not a research project per se, but really connecting the best actors in Europe developing health technology assessment methodologies to advance on this. Expanding European electronic health record exchange format. Here, one of the topic is really how to make the data from health interoperable, harmonized, to be prepared to build this European health data space. Then there was a topic on modeling and simulation to address regulatory needs in the development of orphan and pediatric medicine. A topic on ATMPs, advanced therapy medicinal product. And then another interesting last topic on development and harmonization of methodologies for assessing digital health technologies in Europe. What's up for the next call? Only these two topics, pretty complex, I would say. I don't know if of interest for your constituencies, but about developing EU methodological frameworks for clinical performance evaluation and post-market follow-up of medical devices and in vitro diagnostic medical devices. And the second one on gaining experience and confidence in new approach methodologies for regulatory safety and efficacy testing, coordinated training and experience exchange of EU regulators, so CSA, but a very specific field. What is the budget distribution of the 6 destinations we have seen? I've showed it for each destination, but this is maybe of more graphical impact. So you see that the first work program 21-22 was at a higher budget, which has decreased in the second work program. And you see also that by destination, there is a difference in between the first allocation of budget and the blue and the green. So for many cases, the second years were with lower allocation of budget, except for destination 3, which has, as you see, a higher budget for 2024. I'm going to now give you time for questions or anyway, also maybe a break, let's see. But I wanted to conclude the overview on cluster health by saying that maybe differentially, it's in a different way compared to EU for Health. Cluster health has different connections also outside EU. So there are different fields of research where cooperation with non-EU countries is possible, and it's mentioned in the work program. So we have the possibility to have in the consortium non-EU countries, which are in many cases also funded in different fields. You see a list of fields where this is possible: infectious diseases, antimicrobial resistance, and public health emergency, of course. Global health, personalized medicine, chronic diseases, cohort-based clinical studies of health and disease, brain and mental health, impact of the environment on human health, improving access, sustainability, and quality of healthcare in low and middle income countries. Then there is also a last mention on the US participant. Very specifically, United States are actually fundable in the cluster health only. So it's an exception. Although they are an industrialized non-European countries, they are fundable, while other countries industrialized like Japan, Australia, or even Canada, can participate, they can be included in the consortium, but they are not automatically funded by European Commission budget. They should bring their own funding in the project. Okay, so before continuing and going into this second part, more into the partnership, I ended the overview on cluster health. I hope I've tried to underline indeed the parallel with the EU4Health, the 6 destinations, the 6 intervention areas. So I would like to break here and eventually look at the chat and see if you have any suggestions in terms of being maybe more clear about what the Horizon Europe Cluster Health is funding, or if you have questions on the topics, on anything you wish. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Caterina, for the comprehensive presentation. And I don't see for the moment questions in the chat, but I just want to mention that indeed you have highlighted the need to look for complementarity with EU4Health. So thank you very much for highlighting this. And it's definitely one of our objectives that we are trying to work within the work package 5, as I was mentioning in the beginning, but not only, because also within the work package 6, capacity building for national focal points, we will soon open a new activity, open lab activity, laboratories learning by doing. We will try therefore to simulate complementarities between different programs, and indeed it was very useful, your presentation, and thank you also for highlighting the destination 3, 4 and also 5 with regard to the European data space synergy and complementarity. With regard to EU4Health, let's say the destinations that are so-called in Horizon, in EU4Health we call them strengths and areas of action. Then I will ask colleagues again to raise the hand or just write in the chat. If not, then yeah, there is a question from Amanda. Amanda Daly from Ireland, please. Amanda?
Actually,
Yeah.
can you hear me?
Yes.
It's actually about the work of the CSA and the development of tools. And I was just wondering, you mentioned that you have these annotated templates, and does Hedea input into that, or who develops them? Is that just the NCPs, experienced NCPs putting together that information, or is it from the training that you received from Hedea, and then you use that for different topics? Or I suppose it's just to get some insight into how that process is worked up. Be great.
Okay. Hi, Amanda. And okay, on the annotated template effort, the way we have been handling this work up to now was only an NCP work. We have never asked ADEA or the European Commission to, let's say, give us an overview or support. We are really handling the work as an exchange between a few NCPs who are leading the work because by project allocation, maybe that's a task for a certain group of people. We are now in Health and SPNet 3.0 actually working on the clinical the annotated template for clinical trials. So we still didn't tackle the work on the annotated template for research, innovation action, and innovation action, which is our next step, which is probably a bit more complex as a work, maybe which will take a bit more time. But we are basically doing this in between NCPs. First, a small group, then we open up the floor to comments from other colleagues, and yeah, and then we might think of testing a bit the reading of through some applicants, like small pool of applicants who can give us like a first feedback before we publish it. But actually, now that I think about it, I don't know if it could be an idea also to share it with the National Focal Point. Would be interesting to have a small, yeah, not a big exercise, but for a few people who really feel they can give an input, could be interesting to have also some of you on this actually very important exercise before we go public. We didn't do it for CSA. You started by mentioning a coordination support action, I guess, but we decided to do the annotations on the RIA and IA template because it's probably what is more complex for researchers. We never did the CSA annotated template.
No, I meant actually within the context of the CSA. That's the work you're doing. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
No, that's really helpful. Thank you. Yeah, I guess from our point of view, the Horizon Europe is so much broader and open compared with EU4Health, which is so specific in topic, just in some that are more specific than others, but I suppose it's trying to work out how to synergize with a program which is so open and broad with a program that has very defined topics. I suppose that's what my struggle is. I don't know if anyone else has any comments on that.
Yeah, Amanda, I was also thinking that for us, I would like as national contact point to be more ready to advise our clients also on EU4Health, and when they address their research area on a specific topic, I would really have, I would like to have a map of what is also available on the other program, and of course going on the funding and tender portal. It's a way because you search for keywords and then you get more topics. But yeah, it could be useful to do this exercise a bit more in advance than on the funding and tender portal. So yeah, ideally I would like to do a presentation in the future where what I showed you today eventually is also containing not just a reference to EU4Health, as we do in the we mentioned this is a destination very much in synergy, but I would like to also show the topic eventually, to really be complete in what we do. Not because we want to talk about the topics of EU4Health, but at least to do like a little, like a better service. And that would be my ambition. But I'm saying this just because I'm with you now, and of course, this is a joint mission to do a better service.
Yeah. I think one other thing that'd be really helpful, because I think there's a time lag there, for research projects within Horizon Europe to feed into EU4Health projects. It's looking at the past as well, or the current projects to see what's there and how they map onto, say, topics. I know there was discussion on that at the EU4Health steering committee meeting recently about looking at an area and doing kind of like a an analysis of the current EU projects in a given area. And I think that would benefit not only Horizon Europe or EU4Health, but Horizon Europe as well, and seeing how they all feed into each other and where they all kind of are situated. So that I think that would be helpful for everybody, like a topic tree type thing. So say in cancer, we have the implementation plan, but who are the players, what countries are involved in different projects, and where does that feed into the next stage and next call? I think that would be helpful for everyone. I think the Commission are looking at doing that. So both Katerina and Sadi, I don't know if if you want to look into that and see how we could use that information to inform, to better inform ourselves for future calls, and to prepare applicants a bit better. So that's just another point there. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you, Amanda. Thank you for your comments. I don't see any other comment. I think, Katerina, we can proceed. And otherwise, of course, we are always available also by email if needed.
Yeah, no, thank you. So, yeah, I can go further in giving you a few more information. But yeah, what I'm really also interested in is if after this change for the future, we can have common occasions where we discuss jointly how to present the calls, if and when you will have your calls upcoming, and then we can create a common canvas, a presentation, and also the topic tree idea. I think it's really interesting if we could develop it with the help of data on certain areas like cancer, for example. Yeah, but okay, now I don't want to steal time to this anyway informative presentation. There is probably more opportunities to do exchanges. Actually, in
Definitely,
Budapest,
from
probably.
our side, at least, we definitely share this ambition on trying to become as complete as possible in terms of knowledge, capacity, and the supporting to the implementation of the program. And if we implement EU4Health, then also, in a way, we are also supporting the implementation of Horizon in this case, because of course, we need to find the complementarity. So we definitely share this from our side, and it is our aim in our project, Katerina.
Okay, thank you. And I realized that indeed, yeah, it's nearly 12:30. So yeah, we try to anyway just go deeper into the partnership, and then I leave you to the next appointment. The partnership issue, it's an important part, as you saw in cluster health, because there is a lot of budget allocated to the partnerships. And you see that in cluster health, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 partnerships, different colors. It means different funding mechanism with different legal basis. The first two partnerships are Innovative Health Initiative and Global Health Partnership, ex-EDCTP3, on infectious diseases, transforming health and care system, the risk assessment of chemicals, ERA for health, rare diseases, One Health, personalized medicine are co-funded, means that the member states are co-funding the activities and the funding of future research projects. There is anyway an upcoming pandemic preparedness partnership where the legal basis has been in doubt for a while. Actually, at the moment, I don't remember what was the final decision on this pandemic preparedness, but anyway, the topic, the area is there, and it's very important. I don't know if we can compare these partnerships mechanism with your joint actions among ministries or regional government. Probably not financial model, but I guess the mission, these partnerships is very similar, and it's anyway to coordinate and decide on what areas to fund research and innovation in this or that field. So just remind that these partnerships are anyway an important opportunity, not only for the ministries and for the funding agencies, but in a future phase also for applicants, because these partnerships are publishing calls, and these calls are open to applicants, which are universities, research centers, patient associations in some cases, companies in some cases, hospitals, etc. So it's the same audience of the Horizon Europe calls, but with, let's say, also rules which are defined by the partnership itself. So the point of attention here for our client is, okay, we know that there are these partnerships, they will issue calls for the future, but the calls have different, they might have different rules, changing from country to country, depending on the funding authority involved. So this is a bit the complex part of partnerships, which we generally face. So this was a bit showing that it's a long story, and the partnerships are really originated by a 10-year experience, which started in 2010. So it's 10 years of experiences. You see the different colors showing the different type of partnerships and the different sectors. Neurodegeneration, antimicrobial resistance, rare diseases. There were many sectors funded through partnerships. And now in this last phase, you see in the timeline, we are seeing the start of new additions to these partnerships with, let's say, renovated also legal basis. You see them here in another format, but with an indication of when they started. So the first two who started were Innovative Health Initiative and EU Africa Global Health. And the rest of the co-funded partnership are starting bit by bit. The first one to start was the one on assessment of risks for chemicals. And then we had actually the transforming healthcare system, which started actually in January, actually this year, 2023. For the next upcoming years, we have personalized medicine partnership, rare diseases, and antimicrobial resistance. So in different moments, this partnership will be kicked off, and we start also issuing calls for our applicants. Few more things on Innovative Health Initiative. That's one of the historical partnerships and institutionalized partnership. So there is always budget for all the countries in Europe. And this partnership has enlarged very much the scope compared to what you remember was IMI, Innovative Medicine Initiative. The main enlarging part is that first in the beginning it was only pharma companies joining this partnership, but now we have other associations at European level working also on imaging, biotech, medical devices, digitalization, digital industries. So the areas of coverage of the IHI has enlarged, so the calls will be tackling all these different sectors, not only pharma. The main aim here is to attract our applicant at a national level to respond to the topics of IHI, which are anyway issued at a different rhythm, of course, compared to the cluster health work program. So now also on our side, and here I talk as national contact point, we have this very challenging aim, which is not only promoting the cluster health topics, but we also have to follow or try to follow all the partnerships you have seen, IHI, Transforming Health and Care System, all the others which are issuing calls. So our work is becoming also monitoring what the partnerships are doing and highlighting to our applicants the different opportunities, because each partnership is issuing anyway calls, and there are health opportunities everywhere. These were the calls that were probably call 3 and 4 with the deadline in March. So as you see also here, we have a lot of synergies and with the cluster health topics. And yeah, that's also part of the puzzle we need to also clarify to our applicants. Also here, it's very much research and innovation activities. And it's very important to also keep an eye very carefully to these topics, which are also yeah, very important for our public. You see topic 3, combining hospital interventional approaches to improve patient outcomes. That's also very probably relevant for you or for your constituencies. Yeah, so that's why we also need to keep an eye on this. ADCTP, I'm not going really in depth on this because it would take a longer time, but whomever is doing clinical trials in especially targeting sub-Saharan Africa on the infectious diseases like tuberculosis, malaria, neglected infectious disease, there might be opportunities also here. The website is mentioned. Also here there is an autonomous management of the calls and the rules by the EDCTP itself. I was including also other partnership, but yeah, we don't have really time today. One last word on mission cancer, which also very much in synergy with the part of your work program. We have had already like 3 rounds of calls in mission cancer. Now, what is probably interesting to know is that mission cancer is issuing calls around these 3 pillars you see in different colors, where prevention is an axis, then also the optimized diagnostic and treatment, the pillar in the middle, and support quality of life. So these are the 3 mainstream pillars of the mission cancer. So year after year, we have also been following and promoting the topics of this call, and that's also an area where I think we need to work on the synergy with the E4Health program, trying to be as clear as possible to our clients when we talk about these opportunities. Also, mission cancer, like E4Health, has generally up to now our annual work program, so not biannual. So that's also another peculiarity we need to tackle when we talk to our audience. I have included in the slide also some other rules, which are also different probably from EU4Health, the countries who can participate and who can be eligible for funding, which is probably slightly different for EU4Health. And I want to arrive at the slide where I mention some contact point. No, the evaluation criteria. This is something I think I just want to mention because it is something we definitely share in the programs. But for Horizon Europe, we have this same criteria as in Horizon 2020: excellence in quality and efficiency of the action. And yeah, it could be interesting also in one of our next appointment of a change to compare the evaluation criteria, the sub-criteria, understanding how the proposals are evaluated and scored. Yeah, I leave you with this mainly informative slide where we are organizing matchmaking events for applicants. We have done some events in January with the back-to-back to European Commission Info Days, 19 and 20 of January. But there are already some upcoming activities which might be interesting for you also to know or to disseminate. 1st of June, there will be an easy info day on the topics 2024. We have been quickly reviewing together. It's not yet on published, but that's the date. 2nd of June, brokerage event. So we will have a virtual brokerage event through a tool we always use where your client could register to propose meetings with other European partners. So totally free, totally virtual, the 2nd of June, and on all the topics 2024 of cluster health. 5th of June, we will have a different type of event in Paris. It's the first time we go on site again, and we want to work on only on 7 topics of the work program health, especially those ones where there is a strong social dimension. So this is meaning that we would like more sociologists, psychologists, anyway, economists of health working closely with health partners. So 5th of June, for all of these events on the 2nd and the 5th, we already have a webpage. You can reach it through our webpage. You can visit the event page. Eventually, you can also promote it if you wish. There are some deadlines for both events to register. So yeah, I take this opportunity to ask if you want to distribute it or invite some of your clients to participate. And then also, if you wish to follow the project activities so that we are closely connected and updated, please follow us also on LinkedIn and Twitter. We have our own account since a few months. Then I want to thank you and I want to excuse me for probably taking a bit longer, but yeah, thanks and until next appointment.
Thank you very much, Caterina, again for the comprehensive presentation. And we can confirm that at least the Joint Action Project is definitely following the HNN 3.0 network. We are following both social media and the website updates. I would like just to remind quickly participants to please answer the evaluation survey that will be shortly sent, which is very important for assessing the performance of our project. Thank you, Apre, and thank you, Caterina, and thank you all for participating. See you next time, and bye-bye. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Thanks, bye.
Ciao, ciao.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Ciao.